In this lesson, we will continue to explore our hip joints, and we're going to do this on our hands and knees for the bulk of the lesson. It can be a difficult position for folks if you have any issues with your wrists or your shoulders, or perhaps with the knees as well. So you'll want to do it on a padded surface, and when you feel that your body needs rest, you take a rest. This applies to any of the lessons that I do. Ultimately, it's up to ourselves to take care of ourselves. So when you feel you need to take a rest, you take a rest. In the Feldenkrais work, we are permitted to imagine ourselves performing movements when we feel that our bodies are not happy doing these movements. In fact, we're encouraged to do so. So it's actually possible to follow a lesson without doing any of the movements at all. You can actually do the movements in your mind, and you will have a positive effect in terms of a transformation in the way in which you feel when you're done with the lesson. In the previous lesson, we looked at our hip joints in a standing position, utilizing weight shifting and rotation, right? There was also some exploration of how the base of support influences our ability to move and find balance. One of my long-term patients who watched a few of my videos pointed out that I have my own habits. Of course I do. One of the expressions, one of the words I'm using a lot is right. So you'll hear me say this from time to time, but I'm trying to become more conscious of not doing it. It's like saying or yeah, you know. So see what you can see what you notice, but don't let yourself get too distracted if I say things like that. I'm working to do better. Let's start just by resting on our backs, which we'll often do before we start a lesson in awareness through movement. And notice what you notice for a few seconds. Notice your breathing. Notice the general sense of weight, pressure that your body makes on the floor. Where is the heaviest part of yourself? Where is the deepest impression? Find your hips with your hands, just that hip crease area, wherever you think it is approximately. And turn your left leg outward and inward a few times. Just notice any movement sensation that you feel in the hip region. And allow the knee to soften as you turn it outward, and then slide the leg up into a standing position. Right? So your left leg is now bent and your left foot is standing on the floor. Take hold of the knee and go ahead and bend the other leg. And place your opposite hand, your right hand, into the crease. And just move your knee back and forth towards your chest and away, very slowly. Not that much movement, just an inch or two. And just feel any movement that you sense in the front of the hip, in the center of the hip, in the sits bones, and in the back of the hip joint. Good. Leave that and rest with your legs long. Feel the difference. Which leg feels heavier? Which leg feels longer? Bend your right leg and just have the foot standing. As you bend the left leg, again, we start just by turning it out. You're turning it outward, allowing the knee to soften and bend. And then you bring it up. And let your left knee tilt inward and then slide your leg away. I should be wearing socks for this. Let's not get too carried away with this one, but just feel you could tilt the right knee in rather the left knee in. You get a little sense of rotation and rest. Good. So we'll come on to our hands and knees. Come to a 90-90 position with your arms and your legs. Flatten your back. Keep your shoulders a little bit apart. And we want to keep our backs relatively stable for this one. We don't want to be twisting and doing too much of that. Bring your knees under your hips, so it might be a little narrower of a base than you're accustomed to. So maybe 6 inches apart or so. And bring your attention to your right hip, your right leg, and just slide it forward and slide it backwards a little bit. Just a little forward and a little back. Let's keep the left leg static. So we're not going to move back and forth. We're just going to move the right knee forward and back. And so here you can feel some movement in the right hip joint. Switch and do the other side a few times. Left knee forward and back. Good, and then we'll switch again. Now I'm going to move the right knee to the side, right? So to the right and back. I'm still keeping that left leg static. Now I'm going to switch sides. Right, and feel that you can move that left leg freely. And just notice what you notice as you do that. Good. Take a little rest on your back. How's the breathing? Good. Let's roll onto our hands and knees again. Same position. This time with your weight on your right leg, use the right leg to drive the body forward. And now combine the movement of driving the body forward with pulling the left leg forward. Driving your body forward, you feel that your right knee is pressing into the floor. There's a little friction that you're using from the floor to move your body forward, and you can feel your wrists are now bending a little more as you get a stretch in the wrist because your chest is starting to move over your hands. This would be like the beginning of propulsion. Switch sides. Left knee propels the right leg forward. Notice what you notice within the crease of the hip, within your sitting bones, within the hip socket. These are not structures that we can feel so readily compared to, say, our fingers or our toes. Good. Now with the right leg as your base, we're going to slide your left leg to the left, and the whole body will move. Imagine you have a cocktail tray balanced on your back. You want to move that tray to your left without spilling it. Right? So you got to organize yourself in such a way that your torso remains parallel to the floor. Switch directions. Right, so now my left knee is driving my right leg to the side. And rest. Come back to the same position. Picture that cocktail tray on your back. We've moved it forward and back and side to side. Now let's make it move in a circle. So first, move the tray forward and then to the side, backwards and to the side. And just working on that movement nice and slow, nice and easy. It's not that easy in terms of the physical effort, but let's change direction. But consciously do less, reduce the effort. Focus on the pelvis that contains the socket of the hip joint, balancing on the ball of the femur. Change legs. Move from the hips. Go slower and do less. Organize the breath. No holding the breath. Organize the mind. Change the direction. Let the mind lead the action. Feel the circles that are occurring in the hip, the circles that occur in the knee, in the shoulders and the wrists. If you close your eyes, can you feel and sense movement in the eyes? Change legs. Can you sense that the eyes also move in a circle? Relax the jaw. Relax the neck. Feel the movement of the shoulder blades. Change direction. Good. Lie on your back and rest. How is your contact on the floor now? Where is the heaviest point? One last time, come onto your hands and knees. Now we'll integrate the head and the spine with the hip and the pelvis as I slide my right leg forward, driving it forward with my left leg. Raise the chest and the head. And switch legs. Do that a few times. And then switch so that you look down at the knee and raise the chest, rounding the back. There's a lot of possibilities. You could be moving your knee towards the diagonal arm. So you start to twist. Of course, now I'm going to start spilling the tray of cocktails, which is on my back. Many possibilities. Just come to sitting from this position. However you're comfortable. Let's take a few moments to rest and notice what you notice. And when you finish this lesson, take a moment to stand and to feel the difference without being fidgety. Just simply stand and observe yourself as you are. Then take a moment to slowly shift your weight onto one leg, feeling the hips, right? So feel the hips as you shift your weight onto the other leg. And then add that element of shifting your weight to the side and turning. And just feel what you notice in terms of your sense of feeling connected and balanced. Has there been an improvement? It's okay if there's no improvement. You know, it doesn't always happen like that, but sometimes you'll really feel dramatic transformations with this kind of work. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I don't think I said right too many times either.